Hi, folks. Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about a few articles now I've seen where Western governments are actively encouraging minorities, the proverbial black lesbian, but any minority generally. Could be a white woman, could be a lesbian, a black person, brown person, to sue an employer if they don't get the job. Now, this is particularly so if the employers are white, but it's interesting here that even people with a criminal history are being exhorted and encouraged to sue if they don't get the job, because it must have been because of some form of discrimination, and the Western governments in the thrall of the globalist machine on how to disrupt and break down social cohesion. They're going at this and putting substantial budgets at the disposal of various sort of human rights bodies and so on. There's also an army of NGOs involved in this as well, claiming to be charities, but really are just activists in the area of breaking down social trust and so on. Now, given the amount of race, gender quotas and things like that, you'd think the straight white males would have the systems and procedures and government departments in place to help them. And certainly, by my experience, straight white males are the only people you can dismiss without reason or cause. And I see this everywhere in certainly the business we're doing, when competent, capable, well qualified straight white males, assuming they'll even get the job, are being dismissed and fired and got rid of for reasons such as they're really good at their job, but it's just making all the affirmative action hires feel a little insecure and feel it's lowering the self-esteem of the race, gender quota, affirmative action hires. So we got rid of that really capable white guy, even though he's doing a great job. Those are the reasons that white people are getting, particularly straight white males, are getting fired for these days. So I think they would have a case to be, or they should have the support to take employers to court. But of course, that's not how it is. Now, here's a few cases I noticed, and I'll focus on one. Now, here's a woman who has been convicted of robbery and assault, and got a good behaviour bond, then assault, or it may have been the other way around, but and then did a short stint in prison, and then was also charged with drug dealing. So now you'd think with a rap sheet like that it wouldn't be that easy to get a job, but in the human rights thing, they're saying, well, it doesn't matter how much, this person is now a victim. They're now a victim, therefore they have special human rights that are not afforded to other people who are well behaved and haven't committed any crimes. And anyway, the crimes they've been convicted of, because this is a woman, the crimes they're being convicted of are because of the evil fucking patriarchy, laws of patriarchy, where straight white males oppress. So really, the justice system isn't legitimate, and therefore the crimes they've been convicted of are really not legitimate either. So assault and robbery, that's kind of, that's not really that important. I mean, they didn't misgender somebody, which would have been a serious crime. They just beat someone up and stole their money. So that's kind of not that big a deal. So, gee whiz, why did we put a person like that in prison? I mean, hey, this makes them a victim, and this therefore gives them special entitlements. So anyhow, the rap sheet like this, the person applies for a job. Now, the company in question, they said that they don't discriminate. Just because you have a criminal history doesn't automatically disqualify you from employment, and it'll be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. Often these companies say, well, if you've been in prison for longer than 12 months, that is a serious matter. But if it's less than 12 months, then they don't care, depending on what it is. Like some people have, say, gone to prison because they were growing marijuana in their backyard or something like that. And now, is that a serious crime in the view of many? Well, no. So those things can be overlooked. If you're running around murdering folks, and that may be different again. So anyway, there's this company was saying that, and it's in their blurb, in their employment stuff, saying that, well, we'll look at it, but it's not an automatic disqualification. They don't guarantee to give you a job if you've got a criminal history. So this woman, I think she's a lesbian from the way that it's written up, but I can't be absolutely sure on that. That she's awarded a lot of victim points, and I don't think the criminal history or being a woman on its own would be enough. So I'm pretty sure she's a lesbian, or at least pass herself off as one to get the extra victim points needed to get all the taxpayer funding. So anyway, so she applies for the job, doesn't tell them, she gets invited in for an interview, doesn't tell them about her criminal history until they call her back and say they want her to go for a second interview. So only then does she say something. At that point, they then say, well, we'll do a police check on, like, check her criminal background. So all this comes out, and I don't know how forthright she was, whether she openly declared all of it or declared the lesser of the things, like the drug thing and what. But anyway, it comes out. So they then say, no, we're not going to take this any further. Her argument was that they would have employed her if they hadn't known about the criminal stuff, and that because they have refused her employment because of the criminal stuff, they're therefore discriminating against her. Now, I don't think she would have arrived at that on her own. I think she would have fallen in with she'd have been part of some activist lesbian group, and they would, I know someone in legal aid. So she goes to the legal aid office, which is government funded, gets free legal representation, then gets taken to this like a human rights type thing. So she doesn't go to industrial or employment tribunal or anything like that. She goes straight. So her human rights have been violated. Well, what human rights? Well, her right to employment, of course. You mean you've got a right to employment? Wow, I didn't know that. What about my rights or the rights of any straight white male? No, it's not straight white males, you fucking idiot. It's only people with victim points, and straight white males are all fucking Hitler. So they've got no victim points to accumulate, whereas everyone else does. Okay, so she's a white woman. So interestingly, this human rights group or employment human rights group, whatever they're called, they decide they're going to take up the case. So they go to the company and say, well, you've caused this woman suffering and distress and hardship, and her self-esteem has suffered. Always a favourite, that one. Your self-esteem has suffered. Her self-esteem has suffered. So you have to pay her compensation. The company, not unreasonably, says, hey, why don't you go and get fucked? So all right then, well, we're going to drag you into court. Now, at this stage, the company, this is my take on it, should have realised that the legal fees alone are going to be more than they want. I mean, it's going to make it a costly, time-consuming exercise. Now, I don't know how well the company handled the whole thing. Like if they've got those snot-nosed little junior morons that seem to come out of the woodwork that they employ in human resource departments and diversity departments and so on, you'd think that they would have. You can imagine they wouldn't have handled it very well in terms of being polite or pleasant or anything like that. So, nonetheless, the company should have, I think, just said, look, we'll give you some money to how much money do you want? That type of thing. So now it's a shakedown, to be sure, but once it's reached this stage, then there's no way the company can win. There's no way it can come out. Their legal fees alone will be substantial. So I think they should have just folded at this point. Not that they should, as in in a world of reasonable, sensible, practical justice, and that they shouldn't need to. But the reality is, we live in an insane world, and the forces of social justice are coming at them from all sides. They might as well just accept defeat and walk away from it. That would have been my take. Again, not that they should have, but that's the perverse reality and fantasy world that we live in, the clown world, if you will. So anyway, she wins the case, and they have to pay out money to her, not a vast amount, but they could have got out of it, I think, initially for just a few $1,000. She just wanted the moral victory, really, and they wanted the moral victory, sticking it up a company run by straight white males, and they also wanted a precedent that they could use in future. All that sort of wider social, political, restorative justice type stuff comes in. But anyway, so they ended up having to pay this fucking career criminal money for not employing her. It's insane, but there you go. So that was it. Now, if you look at their legal costs and all that sort of thing, they're probably on the hook for something like $35,000, $40,000, including cost of their lawyers and all that sort of stuff. But in hey. Now, I don't know if the woman, they didn't have to employ, they weren't forced to employ, they just had to pay her for her loss of self-esteem. Now, when white men are fired, straight white males are fired simply because they've lowered the self-esteem, because they're efficient and effective and capable and qualified, they've lowered the self-esteem of the affirmative action, unqualified people around them. When those straight white males are fired, there's nowhere for them to go. Now, there's another reason I'm sort of doing this video is we had a situation closer to home. We needed somebody to do not much, probably a few weeks' work, maybe 4 hours a week. So it was a very short-term gig, just for, again, 4 or 5 hours a week, something like that. And so there was a lady, I guess, probably early 50s, who one of my colleagues handled this, not me, and she was available to do the work. So we all right then, well, fine, and then she at the time she was meant to start, she said, "Oh, I'm too busy, I can't do it. No, I need more notice." So we still had some of this work to be done. So we gave, my colleague gave her a week's notice. We're going to need you in 8 or 9 days' time to do this. So she says okay. And then the day before, she's meant to start. No, I haven't got time. Oh, I'm busy. But I can't do it. So anyway, the third time came along, and this time I was, my colleague was unavailable, so I ended up doing it. So I spoke to her directly. Look, are you sure you're available? You do want to do this? You're okay to do it? Oh, yes, I want to do it. Yeah, okay. I need the money. And then, all right, then. Well, this is what we need done. This is the time we need. Yeah, I know, I'm fine. All good. And she does the same thing again on the third occasion. Suddenly, she's too busy. But she talks like she's in some sort of. I don't know, like she's on the verge of becoming a nervous wreck or something. It's like she's just managing to hold herself together, just managing. She's about to completely lose it. Is the tone that she seemed to have on the phone. So I'm now thinking, well, I don't know. I'm not sure we really want somebody because anybody that sort of close to the edge and ready to fall to pieces, they'd be, in my view, the sort of people to go rushing off to some employment tribunal or human rights tribunal, and so, they did this to me, they did that to me, and then we've got a lot of time and money and or money to rebut it because she's the female and and she's got the victim points and we don't, and therefore we have to fight against this restorative justice activism thing that is everywhere today. So I'm sort of balking really now. Okay, so I made it fairly plain that the next time we need to, she does need to do what she says she's going to do. So, and sure enough, the next time comes along, she does exactly the same thing again. So I said, look, forget it. We're not going to have any, we're not going to go ahead with this. You're just too unreliable, and we need reliability. We've done everything you've asked. We've given you the lead time, the notice that you wanted. We've done this and that. So and you still can't deliver. So let's forget about it. Anyway, she immediately responds, and we get peppered with texts and emails and going, I'm a single woman on my own, and men have done bad things to me, and I'm suffered. Well, why must you treat a single woman so badly? And I have a nervous condition, and I'm on medication, and you've done this to make me feel bad. And she just went insane. It's like, holy fuck, this is it. So I made a point of making sure we had all the bits of paper in place, and all the communications were very carefully catalogued. And that took me some hours to do, because all she's got to do is go almost to any taxpayer-funded social justice body, and then we're going to have to deal with it. And we're going to have to prove that there's no case to be heard here, and even then we may still get dragged into a court or some sort of bullshit fucking tribunal. So anyway, I put that. Nothing's been heard since, but you just don't know. But we've blocked the email and blocked the phone, and that we've done everything to. But it goes to show you how easy it can be. All you need is some deeply disturbed person. There's plenty of them out there, not least because of the financial pressures on people today with the cost of rent or energy or food or any of those things. People can be under a lot of pressure. So this is the thing that we so we noticed this, or we noted this, and we're aware of it, and we realized that this is where people can it's into this area that we can a lot of people are being, if you like, moved into this area of high level, high anxiety, and this can have consequences, because if they're in it from a minority group, whether the black lesbian or not, when in a minority group and they've got victim points and you don't, you're the straight white male, you really have to be ready to push back against it, and be prepared. We've got the documentation which shows that she's super unreliable, so I don't think it's an issue. But that's not the point. The point is we may have to fight a legal case purely on the basis she has victim points and we don't. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.